Now I'm sure you heard about it. New cooling measures for residential property. Now I've actually made this prediction before in this previous video, which I'll leave towards the end of this also, on 7 bold predictions for 2022, of which number 2 is actually cooling measures happening. But as of 16 December, government has actually jumped ahead of my warning bell and actually mentioned as of midnight, additional ABSD as well as reduced TDSR. Now all this I'll cover in detail, but the main discussion for today is 4 groups of people that might actually celebrate this news. Maybe you're in one of them, as well as 4 groups of people who are really sad because of all these new cooling measures. So if this topic interests you, continue watching on. Hi guys, welcome back. This is the list of changes as well as which group of people will be impacted. But because this is hard to comprehend, I'll break it down into groups that you might belong to. And the first starts with this. First time homeowners. If you're a young married couple looking to buy a first marital home, actually this is good news to you. Why do I say so? They actually reduced the borrowing rate for HDB loans from 90 to 85%. Yes, you are required to make a bit more in terms of down payment. But as mentioned before, there is a lot of housing grants available. Very generous housing grants such as enhanced housing grants, proximity housing grants, etc. and etc. And government has actually made every single measure to really allow lower income couples to get their own flats. So this little tweak, if I'm not wrong, is actually not too big a consequence. Because most of the time, young married couples are not looking for the $1.32 million Dawson HDB that went for a record price. The buyer for that is likely someone who got cashed out from an en bloc sale and has a lot of cash looking for a good solid unit. Young couples are looking for something built up and looking for something they can start with, not a top penthouse. And in any case, many young couples are using bank loans simply because bank loans are cheaper than HDB loans right now. Just as a point for illustration, the DBS 5-year fixed bank loans are about 1.68% right now, whereas the HDB loan is 2.6%. So for young couples who are looking to settle down for 5 years before potentially upgrading, locking in for 5 years interest rate lower is already a good enough move. And they have already got to settle with 75% loan to valuation ratio. So this change, not too big of an issue. The second group, if you are a downgrader from a condo or if your condo got en bloc, then this cooling measure is actually good news. Why so? Because when you are downgrading from condo, you are usually flush with cash, correct? So you are interested in HDBs like this $1.32 million Dawson property or any Bishan which has made record, because this amount you can afford. In any case, you don't need a loan, so tightening of loan measures really does not impact you. In any case, you're buying for retirement, so if cooling measures bring down prices in the coming months ahead, then all the more that's good news for you. The third group is if you are a HDB owner and looking to upgrade to a condo. This cooling measure is actually good news. Yes, it is true that maybe your HDB flat, you have to moderate as asking price a bit. But when you buy the condo at a bigger quantum, you are also able to bargain hard. Now the key difference for this cooling measure is ABSD, now 17%. But in any case, you're looking to sell the HDB anyway already, so you're not incurring that. So that doesn't affect you. The thing that affects you a bit is the TDSR, total debt servicing ratio, which drops from 60% to 55%. But reports have actually suggested that 97% of borrowers have TDSR of less than 55% anyway. So if you don't overstretch, this change doesn't really impact you that much. The original plan that you might be thinking of is you buy in one person's name. Or if CPF funds are needed for both, you just do 99% in one, 1% in the spouse. So many have actually adopted this strategy in view that in future there could be some decoupling needing to be done. All these strategies have been widely adopted ever since ABSD became a staggering 12% in my opinion. When I paid ABSD for my condo, it was at 7%, a very painful amount already. But ever since 12%, decoupling and buying in a single name has been almost common for married couples. So this change doesn't really affect you too much, especially if you're looking to upgrade in the near term. The fourth group is if you already own a condo as a couple and intended to decouple to buy another condo. ABSD is not an issue at all. Your impression of property is good capital preservation and potentially good in terms of appreciation. In terms of TDSR reducing, that might hurt a bit just as the previous group of people, but luckily this change did not impact buyer's stamp duty. Right now for condos above $1 million, buyer's stamp duty is already raised to 4%, and I was actually concerned whether government would use that as a cooling measure or not, but luckily that did not come into play, which means if you buy the second property now after decoupling, in any case, some developers like this condo in Bukit Timah is already dangling discounts, 5% discount, and why not pick something up at this current moment. Now personally, I think these cooling measures don't have too much an impact, and in any case, the 4 groups of people have all benefited. So if you agree, smash the like button, and let's move on to 4 groups of people who do not really like the cooling measures, and myself included, because I belong to this first group, which is you're a shareholder of a real estate agency. If you follow this channel, you do know I'm a big fan of PropNex, a highly profitable agency, and share price for it has skyrocketed in the last 1.5 years. And PropNex actually makes money from transactions, so more transactions means more commissions earned and more potential shareholder rewards. So with cooling measures, transaction volume might slow a little bit. That's what experts are suggesting. And my concern as shareholders, would that dampen forecasting of earnings in the coming quarters ahead? And if it does, share price might stall and underperform the index. The second group of people who did not like the cooling measures are foreigners. Foreigner ABSD has been raised from 20% to 30%. That is a hefty amount. But most foreigners really like Singapore for stability as well as diversification. But if we see, foreigners only account for 4.5% of transactions. And this trend has been declining ever since ABSD has stepped in. So government has really tried to wean off foreign investments so as to not have that additional impact of demand coming from there. So if you're part of this group, possibly look at Australia a bit more and stay away from the Singapore market. The third group of people who did not like the cooling measures are actually property developers. Why so? If you look, this portion really explains things, and usually we tend not to look at this, but this has a big impact on overall sentiment. Let me explain. Now developers have to pay 35% ABSD that can be remitted back when they sell their properties within 5 years. What that means is if they are unable to sell, they have to pay that 35% extra in taxes. And what that means is developers will become more cautious when they bid for land and en-bloc sites. And this en-bloc momentum has been building for quite a while. I've actually covered before on the Georgetown show. So if you didn't see that, check it out. I'll leave 2 links below also. And my view is that en-bloc, if these measures hadn't come in, it would really snowball in 2022. So government has been very sharp, in my opinion, in pricking that bubble very early. And it is likely that they see it as a root cause for any property price surge. The fourth and last group of people who did not like the cooling measures are people looking to sell en bloc. Now, quite a few en blocs have been put up already, and I guess the wave is starting to turn south again. You know, this en bloc wave started in 2017. That's where I actually picked up my private property. I saw that wave coming, and these waves tend to bring up property expectations very quickly, simply because many people who are bought out with en bloc are flush with cash and they can go to property markets to hunt for properties. So if you're a property owner, I'm concerned whether this wave is turning south or not. Let's stick on and monitor on things. So what are your thoughts? Hopefully I've given you a good breakdown, because when we see ratios, we don't quite understand the impact. If you belong to any one of these groups, leave in the comment sections and your thoughts on things. And having mentioned to here, I'm a big advocate of buying property with prudence. And if you haven't seen this video, Foolish Property Buyers, check it out. It's highly popular. If you have seen it, check out this video on 7 bold predictions I have for 2022. I think it will age well and it might have some opportunities that you should hear of. So with that, I'll sign off and see you in either of these videos. Take care and goodbye.